when they talk about Brock, it's all very much like, well, he's on track to start week 1. And the Niners say he's going to start week 1. So I essentially have to assume he's going to be starting week 1. To me, that's not necessarily a logical assumption. Because the Niners say a quarterback is going to be back when they say he's back, he's going to be back at that time. I mean, don't we remember, like, Trey Lance, for example? He broke his ankle, and then he needed another surgery because the first one didn't quite work just perfectly. And it took him a little longer than expected to come back. And they didn't figure that out until deep into the rehab process. So it took 2 surgeries for Trey Lance to make a full recovery, which is where he's at now. And then with Jimmy Garoppolo, he hurt his foot, ankle, whatever. And the Niners thought he might come back for the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game. He had another surgery after that and still hasn't passed a physical. Still, he may never pass a physical with the Raiders, might get cut. So excuse me if I'm a little skeptical when the Niners give me a timetable for a quarterback's recovery. Coming off a serious surgery. Who's to say, like, a day before the season starts, they're like, you know what? Setback. Yeah. It just happened out of nowhere. It's the funniest thing. We're going to go a little slow with him. To me, there's one quarterback on this team who's made a full recovery right now is Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. Until I hear that Brock Purdy has made a full recovery, I'm just going to assume he's not starting week 1. That's my new stance. I'm not assuming he's starting week 1. These are the 49ers we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, my prediction has been for a long time that Trey Lance is going to start week 1 because I think, he may be healthy, like 100%, throwing 100% by week 1. But I still think you need 2-3 weeks. And I think Kyle Shanahan has said that, or at least hinted at that, before you can actually just throw you out there in a game. So I've 187 here in the chat. We made a wager about it. Like I just think that
187,
the Purdy stand of the year, man. My guy, 187. He's been saying Purdy week 1, Purdy dog, and hopefully he is recovered. I think from a political standpoint, it would be best if Brock Purdy started week 1, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be healthy around week 1, but I think he needs 2-3 weeks of practice at 100% before they throw him out there. And I actually think Kyle's going to use this as an excuse to see Trey Lance one more time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just don't trust whatever the Niners process is for rehabilitating quarterbacks or anyone really. So until I hear that a player is 100% back and ready, I'm just going to assume something's going to happen at some point. It's a Niners. Yeah. I don't know why. All I know is that Jimmy still hasn't gotten a dime from the Raiders because he can't pass a physical because of the injury that he sustained with the 49ers that they thought wasn't that big of a deal. Remember that one guy who really likes spreadsheets who was like adamant that he was going to come back in 6 weeks because bones heal in 6 weeks? Well, guess not. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, man. Trey Lance had to have a second surgery. Niners are real eager and like really pushing Brock. He's going to be back and he's going to be back. Okay, man. First of all, that could be all gamesmanship anyway. It could be, let's talk about Brock all offseason, knowing that there's like a 3% chance he'll start week 1. And if it's Trey or someone else, then like good. No one was thinking about that guy. Just like no one was thinking about Brock when he became the quarterback. There was no book on Brock. When he started playing, he was just an unknown. Everyone was caught by.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, obviously, just in case you guys didn't know that, but I am not a doctor. But I will say that it just seems it would be really remarkable to me. You go down with that injury in what was it, February or late January, right? Mm-hmm. And you're starting week 1. It just doesn't make sense to me that could be a possibility. So I never thought it was going to happen. I've been saying because of that, I think Trey Lance is going to start week 1 for a long time. And I hope Brock recovers. There's no setbacks and he gets to 100%. But I think even if he's 100% for week 1, he still needs to get in the rhythm of the game. He hasn't been able to play competitive football of any kind. No OTAs, no training camp. I mean, we'll see if he's able to participate in this training camp at all, but I wager he's not going to be participating in this training camp. And I just don't think you just throw the guy out there. I don't think that's fair to Brock Purdy to just throw him out there. Oh, you're healthy? Okay, we play on Sunday. Get ready, buddy. Like, I just don't see that.
Yeah, it just feels like they're not going to do it. They may say they're going to do it, but I don't think they're going to do it. And also, I would just be so impressed if the Niners could actually get Brock Purdy fully healthy by week 1. It doesn't seem like something they're capable of doing. I would bet against them. If this were a bet, you could wager on in Vegas. Will Brock Purdy be fully healthy week 1? I would smash the no. Yeah. Simply because of the team he plays for. If he were on another team, that'd be a different story. But I mean, look, compare it to Jimmy last year, right? Jimmy had that whatever surgery. What did he have? He had that procedure with his shoulder.
Yeah.
He had his procedure before Brock had his. He wasn't ready week 1.
No. I mean,
no.
Yeah, Kyle has a bad reputation, honestly, of rushing particularly quarterbacks back quickly. You would think he would try to do everything he could to fix that. I mean, look at the whole RG3 thing, what he did with RG3. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's the thing. When Trey Lance went down, Kyle Shanahan immediately adamant, no, he's done for the year. We'll see him next year. But now with Brock, it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be back week 1, starting week 1. I don't see it. I think he's gonna be smart and avoid that controversy, because what if he comes out and he looks like just noodle arm?
What if he's just not ready? What if he needs more than 3 weeks of prep to get ready for the season, like most players?
Yeah. I think it could be a mistake.
Is it possible that Kyle Shanahan's doing what he did a couple of years ago when he let everyone think he was going to draft Mac Jones? Is it possible he hears all the noise? Maybe some of it's coming from his own organization saying he's going to start Brock Purdy week 1. And he's like, all right, like, you guys can think that if you want. And there's a possibility that he will start week 1. But if he doesn't start week 1 and I start Trey Lance, no one will be prepared for that. And I'm open to doing that. I mean, again, 2 quarterbacks on this team are coming off surgery, Lance and Purdy. One of them has fully recovered. That's the guy who's the leader in the clubhouse to me.
Yeah.
Once Brock Purdy is fully recovered, that's different. But that hasn't happened yet. And these are the 49ers we're talking about. And Trey Lance, it took him a long time and at least one setback that we know of.
And here's the thing, too. Like, when do you think we're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan who's starting week 1? On the Friday before the game?
Week 1. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's playing it like that this year. That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Yeah. And it does give him a competitive advantage. And no, Kyle Shanahan never comes out and speaks against narratives, national narratives. He doesn't do that. He doesn't see a benefit in it. And unless there's a benefit to winning games, he's not going to do it. And
if you don't have a starting quarterback and you have a quarterback room and it's like quarterback musical chairs, I guess that's not an advantage. That's not what you want. But if that's what you got, it's probably your best play to not tell people.
Yeah.
Or, tell them and let them be wrong. Yeah, it's Brock. If he's healthy, which he probably won't be. But he's on schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Here's my prediction, Grant. They're gonna keep saying Brock Purdy's gonna be our week 1 starter. Everything's on pace. And then we're gonna get to like the week or 2 before, when you guys start having press conferences and you're gonna be asking them these questions. And they're going to be saying, oh, it's kind of day-to-day right now. He's right on pace. We think we could play him, but it's kind of day-to-day. We'll see. We'll let you guys know when you need to know. He's going to play it out to the last minute, man. And then Trey Lance is going to be your week 1 starter.
I'm just trying to pull back for a second. Like, a lot of people who think they're skeptical and realists trust that the 49ers can get Brock Purdy back on the field as soon as possible. When did they ever do that? That's not what the Niners do. They try to get a guy back on the field as soon as possible. They mess it up. He has a setback. And 97% of the time, that's what happens when the Niners are rehabbing a player. So if they can do it without any setbacks, I'll give them a standing ovation.
And here's another part to it, Grant. Brock Purdy's decision on this is another part to it. He has to think of his long-term career. And if he's not feeling 100% ready and comfortable and like prepared, I really think Brock Purdy and his camp are smart enough to say, hold on a second, we're going to take it slow. We got to think of his long-term career, because how disaster would it be for Brock Purdy if he comes out before he's ready, not just necessarily from a health standpoint, from a preparation standpoint, and he goes out there and lays an egg and looks awful. How bad would that be?
Why would you do that to him? It's a long season. It's 18 weeks plus playoffs.
Everyone's going to play.
We've heard Kyle and Brian Greasy kind of allude to this. Like, it's a long season and you don't have to race to. They've started slow the last 2 years and still made it to the NFC Championship game. I don't think they're really concerned about having a slow start. They could have a slow start with any quarterback. What matters is that Brock Purdy or someone of these three quarterbacks is rolling once November starts.
Right, right. And Brock Purdy, I mean, how did he have his success last year? He came in, week 13? The team was already rolling and grooving, and he had plenty of time to prepare, and that's how he had his success. So you're saying he's going to –
why not recreate that? It's not really about September.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everyone's going to play. All these quarterbacks are going to play. Like, I'm convinced all three of these damn quarterbacks are going to play this year. I'm convinced. At least two.
Yeah, so, like who's going to be the last man standing?
Be the hero.
Probably not the first man playing. I'm sorry. It's the 49ers.
Be the hero at the end. When you want to play quarterback for the 49ers, it's going into the playoffs. That's when you want to step in. You know? Like, who cares about the other stuff?
Yeah, so if there's a quarterback competition in training camp, you want to lose that.
Right.
It was Jimmy Garoppolo would try as hard as bless his heart.
Right. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs regardless of who the quarterback is. I really believe that. So why not just, hey, if I'm one of the quarterbacks, I want to be there week 17, week 16. That's when I want to start playing, not week 1. I could care less about week 1.
Honestly, if I were Brock, what I'd be wanting to do is exactly what I did last year. Like, shelve me, put me on HUP, give me some time, bring me on, like, let me play December and on. Like, that's all you need me for. It worked last year. Like, you don't need me to be freaking, what were you? Like, you started off you're usually like 3-3 at a certain point, 3-4, and then you work it out. Like, just bring me in out of the bullpen in the 6th inning, and I'll be the closer. You're not paying me anything. Like, I'm getting essentially football minimum wage over here. Shelve me.
And Brock has really, I mean, the only thing Brock has to worry about is just a very unlikely scenario that Trey Lance starts week 1 and stays healthy for the entire season. And knock on wood, man, I hope whoever the quarterback is this year does that. I would love that. It's just, if you look at what's happened for the 49ers, it just seems very unlikely. So, and Brock Purdy, there's no competition for Brock Purdy. All he has to do is be ready, and he's QB1, according to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. So he's not competing for QB2. He's not competing for QB3. He's QB1 when he's ready to go. So just wait till you're 100% ready, man. Like, that's what, if he was my kid or my friend, I would tell him, think about your long-term career, dude. You don't want to go out there until you're ready.
No, absolutely. Khalil Kemp says, Grant, I think your theory with Brock starting week 1 is correct. Kyle is going to make a quarterback switch in the middle of the season, which is why he's pushing Purdy to be ready week 1 in the media. I agree. It seems to me that Kyle is not as married to Brock as everyone else in the organization is, and his attitude is, Brock can start if he's ready week 1. If not, it could be someone else. And who's to say I'll bench that guy? Like, when has Kyle ever benched a quarterback? He loses quarterbacks to injuries all the time, but he doesn't necessarily pull the plug on them himself. So
yeah. I mean, that's a crazy conspiracy. Is it? I mean, he brought up a crazy conspiracy theory there. Does he want to start Brock Purdy week 1 because he knows he probably won't make it, and he really wants to finish with Trey or Sam? I don't know. I don't know if I buy into that, but
or is the theory that he wants to start Trey or Sam, and that thing for Brock is you could play, but only if you're ready week 1. So you better hurry it up. And it's not us pushing you. It's like, do you want to play this year? Because I like Trey Lance a lot still, even though I can't say that publicly. I still do. I think he might. And he also likes Sam Darnold too. So
it's crazy to think about the unlimited possibilities of what happens at the quarterback position this year, because if Trey Lance starts and he stays healthy, he could take the reins and Brock Purdy can never play another snap for the 49ers again. And vice versa. If Brock Purdy starts, we may never see Trey Lance play for the 49ers again in the regular season. Or all three of them could play. Brandon Allen could freaking play and win the Super Bowl. It's just
that we could be doing this dance for a few more years because all of them are cheap. The Niners don't really invest in pass protection. Colt McKivit's a right tackle. Quarterbacks go down all the time over here. I mean, it could be, Trey Lance is looking great. He's had a good 2 months. Oh, he's hurt. Oh, here comes Sam Darnold. He's looking great. He's hurt. Yeah. Oh, here's Brock. He's starting. He's hurt. Here, Trey Lance is coming back. I mean, we could do this for years, man.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah. Or Kirk Cousins. We're going to be talking Kirk Cousins next year.
I haven't watched that show yet. I know everyone's liking Kirk Cousins right now, but
I like Kirk Cousins right now. That's weird. I would take him.
Spoke to him one time on a conference call when he was with Minnesota, and I thought he was the most down-to-earth superstar quarterback ever. Yeah. I don't know if it was an act, but
he seems like a cool dude. He was like getting like he was getting like electrodes attached to his brain. Like, he goes all in. Like, he was like trying to train his brain to process, this thing on his head. He's all in, man. I'm a much bigger fan of. I was actually never a fan of Kirk Cousins. Now I'm a little bit of a fan of Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
Joshua Wyatt says we should be asking if Brock should even start, because if you start him over a guy you invested the farm in, you are calling him a franchise guy. If the Niners feel that way, why is Trey still here?
We should be asking if Brock should even start. I think so. For me, Brock should start if he's healthy. Brock should start based on what he did in games. But I still think Trey Lance has a higher ceiling and will ultimately be a better quarterback. That's my take on it. But I think when you go out there and you run the offense the way that Brock Purdy ran the offense, and you win every game where you start and finish, then you deserve to start.